gosh, our first time going live on YouTube.
So we are filming the podcast here, by the way, guys, and we're going live here. So forgive us for being so far away.
You guys are getting up behind the scenes. So just like it says on the YouTube live, it says you get to be live behind the scenes of our season finale.
So at the end, we'll take questions if you guys have any questions. But for now, we're going to be like going back and forth. And so this is basically the season finale.
So you're going to get to witness how we do the episodes. Again, you are on a behind the scenes live with You Deserve Fresh Lettuce in our season finale episode for season 2. Yay. So we're about to get started. If you are on with us right now, I'm actually going to check really quick to see.
We're watching you guys.
We're going to jump in really quick here and see what this looks like. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool.
You see us? Yay!
Yep. We are good to go. All right, so we are going to start recording in 3, 2, 1. Ready?
Go.
1, 2, 3.
Action.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of You Deserve Fresh Lettuce. I am your co-host, Rachel.
I'm Diane.
And in this episode, we are celebrating the season finale for season 2. 2 whole seasons wrapped up. We're just going to do a little bit of a recap of our favorite episodes. And by the way, most of you guys, by the time you're watching this or listening to it in your car, you will not realize we are currently live on YouTube.
We are live. We stay live.
We
love
stay
live.
all the way live.
Yes.
If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, because we are available in several countries around the world, don't forget you can head on over to YouTube, type in You Deserve Fresh Lettuce, and you can watch all of your favorite episodes.
You can lurk and you can listen. Ask Alexa.
Binge. Okay,
Yes.
so let's get into it. Oh, if you're not following us on social media, please do so at YDFL Podcast.
Yay.
All right, let's get into it. So let's talk about what are our favorite episodes or controversial ones, because we've had some.
Yeah, I don't know that I have any specific favorite episodes. I know that the one that was the highest ranking one was Does Size Matter? And then I think some of the episodes we get a little bit, we open up and we say some things that are so, out of left field, but Does Size Matter was kind of a big one. Erectile dysfunction, anything with sexual content does very well, by the way. For whatever reason, everybody wants to know about does size matter? Does your thing work? What turns you on? Why do men cheat?
And you know what? And by the way, that's been a huge sticking point for me, because I was recently told, Rachel, why are you doing this show?
Yes.
This is not on brand for you. Literally lost this pretty significant opportunity because it came across the show, and we assumed they saw Does Size Matter?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, these are conversations that us ladies were having all the time, and granted we're doing it publicly.
Yeah.
But we're getting a lot of positive feedback from people in general about the topics that we're bringing up, which is pretty awesome.
And I think at the end of the day, whether you want to admit it or not, sometimes over coffee when you're sitting around certain friends and the one that breaks up with the one guy and she's pissed off, and he was small anyway and wants to talk smack about the guy, or he sucked, or he was a one minute man
or whatever. I will say, speaking about the number 1 episode, Does Size Matter?
Does size matter though?
Well, you're gonna have to go back and watch that episode. Boost the algorithm. But I will tell you, the most surprising thing for me as a longtime marketer was really, I watched where the traffic sources are and the number of people that are actually Googling this. And that's why the video went.
And with the eggplant,
so well.
And the eggplant.
They're typing in emojis.
You don't even need to put anything in there, just the eggplant.
The fact that from people from all over the world, men apparently, are looking for the answer to this question was really an eye-opener for me.
But I wonder why though, because I noticed that on my algorithm, of course, I can always stay talking about the algorithm. There's a doctor that actually does penile implants.
Yeah,
I think that'd be
TikTok,
cool to actually maybe get a doctor on that talks about penis implants.
The goal of season 3 is to maybe possibly have guests. So if everything goes smoothly, you'll see a definite upgrade in season 3. Every season so far, we've been changing the look and feel of the show. Thanks to you guys, we get a lot of feedback and everything, and we're progressing. But that would be amazing. Is there another episode that really stood out to you?
I mean, like I said, does size matter? Erectile dysfunction. I don't know. How about you?
For me, it's more about like really exploring the marriage and divorce aspects. I think that when we look at what we came to do with the show,
right?
I know it can lean heavy into sort of the dating or rich guys or whatever.
Yeah.
But keeping focus with the fact that 99% of the people that are listening to the show don't relate to helicopters and Lamborghinis, you know what I mean?
And
choppers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the choppers or the boats and hoes. But I think that, when we talk about the actual like marriage aspects, or, should a woman continue to fix herself up, even though she has the kids and work.
Or we even talked about the BBLs, and I know that was a big deal about getting surgery. A lot of the time, you have a couple of kids, things change.
Yeah.
And should you not? And I think that we are always pretty open to the idea of like, go the extra mile, and if you don't like something, fix it, if that's what you decide to do.
And mostly, just doing things for yourself. I think our whole narrative is like, do it for yourself, because listen, you're looking at two women, and by the way, there's thousands of women that they gave their husband sex every day or night or whatever. They fixed themselves up, they went to the gym, they starved themselves, they did the plastic surgery, and these guys are literally out there cheating with like subpar women if you compare them to the wife. So it's not a narrative about you better do this or your man's gonna cheat on you. There are women who literally sit there with their hair in a bun, in a t-shirt with whatever, and the dudes are so in love with their wives and very respectful. And so we don't ever want to imply that if you don't have it together, your marriage is gonna fall apart.
For sure, but definitely going back to the sex, that is indicative of whether or not you're gonna have a really good relationship or not, because that is the glue to the marriage, in my opinion. And it's not that I will always want to make it about this, but I think it has a lot to do with it. And a lot of the time, the women get so caught up with the kids, the this, the that, the hair in a bun. Oh my gosh, no shower. I don't know what. And I get it. Life gets a little crazy, but I think that we're here just to kind of, lend some perspective to let you know that that is really important, and you need that time for yourself, and give yourself that opportunity to give yourself 20-30 minutes in the morning or in the afternoon to have some me time. It's so important.
Really what it boils down to, my grandmother and my mother gave me this advice, and they said, look, I mean, I got married at 17, it is what it is, but the advice that they gave me is do everything that you can, basically, for yourself, for your confidence, for your husband. Be of service to the best of your ability, because if and when it all comes to a head and it ends, you walk away with the peace of mind that you showed up as your absolute best version of yourself. My grandmother, this is my grandma telling me.
Let's talk about this.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, and it's like, and it's so true, when my marriage, as everybody knows, it came to an end, but I didn't have the same regrets that he had, because I knew that I did the best that I possibly could and presented myself and showed up in the marriage the best that I could. And I will, and if I get remarried, I'll show up in that way as well, because I want that peace of mind, But we got some feedback. There was feedback from several women about everything from, letting themselves go. There was a few messages, but most of all, we had the men chiming in on YouTube.
Most of the guys, and I think that we even saw a spike in like male listeners versus women listeners, which is great. Yeah,
we're in men land right here.
Okay, got it.
YouTube is predominantly male, 70% is what the stats show.
Okay.
But let me tell you, ladies, if you're listening, the men are showing up and they're showing out, like they're engaging. We stay every episode saying, come on ladies, like engage with us. And on YouTube, it's not really happening as much as a few of you, but the men, we will get the emails, we will get the DMs or whatever. Like they have a lot to say about this.
We get pictures, we get a lot of stuff, guys. Just FYI. just so you know. But I mean, it's really awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that we're doing this because we want to lend perspective. Not saying that we're right or wrong. We're just lending perspective. Rachel was married almost 20 years. I was married almost 10 years. So we have 30 years of combined crazy experiences. And we're not ever going to get it correct. But at the end of the day, it's really nice to know that you're not the only one going through something. And oftentimes we like to pretend. And social media, I think recently it's become more apparent that so many people hide their feelings, hide what they're really going through, whether that is maybe they're going through some type of depression, their relationship isn't well, maybe it's financial, maybe it's all the things. And a lot of the time we try to pretend. And so I think that it's a breath of fresh air, in my opinion, to know, like, I'm not the only one going through this. Like,
yes.
oh, there's other people that go through this too.
Life is messy.
You
Listen,
think it's just you.
Life is not picture perfect, and social media is a curated museum of people's lives. It's like the best foot forward. You know, Dottie and I were talking about it this morning. It's like, but then if somebody shows up very real and honest to social media, now nobody wants to follow them because this person's toxic and negative and everything. But at the end of the day, everyone's going through their stuff, and I know that I received messages about the fact that, you know, that we are leaning in on, like, hey, if you're in a marriage, don't like leave your husband because you're bored, or don't like leave your marriage because your soulmate is out there and you feel like
twin flame.
Yeah, you feel like your twin
or you
flame
have you're around women that are single and you see them out and they're in Vegas and they're in Cabo and then they're jet setting to wherever. And I know some people aren't, you know, set up this way like we just mentioned, but let's just say maybe they're taking off for the weekend and then all of a sudden you're stuck being a wife, a mother, a this, a that, and you're like, screw this, I want that life. But there is a price to pay for either or life. And sometimes people choose a certain life just because they're like, I'm tired of this, life is too short. I just want to go out there, go balls to the wall, and hook up with like all the guys. And that is not the goal, by the way. Just, you know, we try to just advocate for stay in the marriage if you can, unless you're going through an abusive marriage. That's a little different.
I will tell you, this journey of creating a podcast with you, you know, I have my other podcast as a solo cast about business, kind of boring. This has been an interesting journey because it's really made me sort of look at myself, because I sit there saying, well, who am I to be giving anybody advice? Like, I'm still single. But, you know, I also look at it like, okay, but why am I single? And it's like I realize the level of like choices that I'm making throughout my life, throughout the last few years, where this is like a choice. Like, everything that you see around you is like you either prayed for it or you made a series of decisions that led you here. And I sit there and I have such peace. But when I research for the show, I've learned so much. Like, we do so much unpacking that it's almost like, are we confusing everyone? Like,
or are we confusing ourselves?
Like, oh, like what do we?
There's all these aha moments. You're like, oh, that's always been.
Oh my
God.
But
I think we as human beings, we are trying to figure it out. I don't care if you have a degree, if you have the money, the cars, and this and that, you're still trying to figure what else are we doing? How else are we showing up? And so I think that we're always, you know, in the direction of growth. Like, we're trying to grow. So we're not going to get it correct.
We're not. And we have a lot sort of at stake, because if you think about the fact that we are single, and, you know, if there's a guy that's interested in me or, you know, in her, whatever, they're going to be able to look at this and, you know, all of this stuff is kind of stamped on the interweb. And yet we've had to
I never said that.
They're like,
let me just pull up the file. And you're like,
roll the tape.
Oh, you know what? I take that one back, though.
But, you know, here's the beauty of all this is that we've had to sit there and go, can we get to a point, and we think we did this with season 2, can we get to a point where we can just lay it on the table,
not talk about it per se so much,
but also lay it on the table, super honest, without the concern of who's going to see it, how long is it going to live on the internet, because that doesn't do it any justice. And so it has been a challenge. It's been a challenge. But I've learned so much, not only from your guys' feedback, but I've learned a lot just about the process of like learning about relationships and what is happening in the world. It is
and I think what's going on also with learning about the process is the process is changing all the time. And the reason why I say that is because you go onto TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, any social media platform, and the one girl just got proposed, and it's like the big marry me sign with the flowers and the fireworks, and you're like, why do I lack that? You know? But you don't know what she's going through, and you don't know what she had to do to get there, and you don't know, like, you don't know what it is. And it may be all of that, by the way, not hating, by no means necessary, but a lot of the times people just expect for the relationships, the marriage, the whatever, to be that way. And that is not real. I mean, real life is sometimes you're going to get into a little bit of a fight, or you know, you're going to have your disagreements or what have you, and it's not always going to be that. And we're always thinking, what do I not have, rather than looking at what you do have, which is
exactly
pretty Captain Obvious.
it's
but
the
I'm
grass
just
is
saying,
greener on the other side, you know.
which lately they say the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's where you water it. We kind of know that. It's Captain Obvious.
It's like the obvious stuff, but you know, I will tell you that when I think about my faith in this whole thing, it's actually really made me proud to be able to sit there and say, oh my goodness, you know, because I've leaned so heavy on my faith, I do not fill my time, space, body with anything that's not in line with what I've been praying to God for. And that is something that I've really come to realize, that it takes an immense amount of discipline. And I know that I've been hesitant throughout season 2 to really talk a lot about that journey, because I don't want to make anyone feel like they're doing it wrong because they do give in on a Friday night because F it, they're bored, might as well go out. I know from my personal journey, I have learned so much in doing this and doing this, saying live your best life, do you, and simultaneously saying, well, what is the best for me? And having to choose that the best for me is literal stillness and waiting on God, like literal stillness and trusting his process, and yet coming forward and saying, hey, there's this process, but we understand you, there's other processes. Just at lunch today, we're at the table and a woman here in the office was saying, hey, she said, are you dating multiple people? I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just whoever's.
I don't want to be a player.
I don't want to be confused, right? And she said, that's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And then
she did,
And then we're going into the debate, and then I walk away going, oh my gosh. But for my journey, I'm realizing, to find out what God is calling you to do and really pray on that, and you'll know.
You'll always know, maybe. I mean, if maybe God's sending you a message from up above saying to go out and be a player.
Go be a snooter. Go be a snooter.
She sat right there and said, you just gotta date a bunch of people.
Everybody's on their journey.
I'm like, huh. But then again, you know, respectfully to her, right? And I'm not gonna say her name. She's never been married and she's never had kids. So sometimes things work for some people and sometimes things don't work for other people. And just because she hasn't been down that journey or that path doesn't mean she's got it right or wrong. It just that happens to be the path that she's in. And so, you know, we all have our own little journeys and we're all trying to figure it out, you know, ultimately.
Yes, and that's the whole beauty of this show, and I think of even you and I being friends, because we're able to talk about things on a different level.
Yeah.
And I think being honest with ourselves to be able to say, hey, we don't have all the answers actually.
Well,
and you're witnessing kind of our journey of trying to figure it out, like Delia said earlier. And sitting there going, oh my gosh, well, what do we want to do? And like, and by the way, we've gone through moments on this season 2 journey where like, we're just like, forget it. We don't even want to be married. Like,
yeah, it was like, just,
what's the point?
What's the point? Let's
just
not even go
and then
down
we
that
go
path.
from that journey to like, oh my God, why would I want to grow old alone?
Why would I not want the marry me sign with sparklers? Then you're like, screw that, just burn it.
Please not.
I think that's life for you though. That's life, man. We're on a roller coaster.
Is there anything that has stuck out to you about this season compared to the first season? So this is your first podcast. I was really a year into my podcast. You're now season 2. We posted a video the other day that says how it started and versus how it's going. And can I just acknowledge Miss Delia here? I try not to do the mom, like, I'm so proud, you know. But like the level of confidence, I did this video and I was like, look at that. Not that you didn't look beautiful and like confident in that first one, but there was like a lot of cues of like looking to see what I'm gonna say, kind of. Yeah. So all of a sudden, like, all right, listen up. This is how it's gonna be.
What we all do now. I think definitely from the beginning to now. At the beginning, I was kind of shy. I'm a very outspoken person. I say stuff that's so out of left field. Out of context, what in the world, who says that? Yeah. I'm that person, and I realized from the first season I was very like, of course, and most definitely, and yes, and cheers. And not that I can't be that way, by the way, but I realize that I'm me now versus trying to be very, you know, to my thoughts and letting her lead, and you know, you give me the cue and I just do filler words like to like, well, let me tell you what I believe and let me break it down to you. So yeah, there's been a little bit of a change for me for sure, and it's great because I think I'm coming, in my opinion, authentic to who I am. Like, if you know me, you know this is just who I am.
Yes,
it's amazing. It's been a little bit of a growth. So if you're proud of me, like mama figure, well then thank you.
And look, I mean, I'm proud of me too. You know, at the end of the day, I didn't know what this was gonna look like with the dual, but also I wasn't an expert before either, and so there's been so much learning too. And I mean, about so many things. Sometimes the audio sucks, sometimes this, that, and then it's just like, hey, it is what
and
it is.
then sometimes, you know, like obviously, you know, Rachel's the expert, you know, and I'll give that to her for sure because she knows her stuff. And she's been kind of guiding me, and that's why she feels like the mama figure, because she has guided, you know, she has guided me.
I'm
but,
like, fly, butterfly,
yes. And so there are times where she'll call me at midnight, and it's like the clips aren't uploaded, and I'm like, oh, I dropped the ball again. And then it's like we batch, so we will have, you know, we'll record, I don't know, 4 episodes in one sitting, or in one day, I should say. And then we'll do another 4. Sometimes we'll do the whole entire season. So my job is to do certain things, and her job is to do other things. And then it kind of sucks when it's like, I thought the Wi-Fi, my phone. It's like, girl, you got it on your phone. Wi-Fi's fine. Like, what's the deal? But literally, it's that's kind of been a little bit of a funny thing. But you know, at the end of the day, we figure it out. It gets uploaded. We do it.
We get it done. We do the best we can. We're learning together, and it's been a lot of fun. But mostly, you know, learning even about ourselves on this relationship journey.
So true.
If you are a woman who's on the fence, you know, you're married, but you're just so unfulfilled, or maybe you just don't trust him anymore, and you don't know what to do. You're really genuinely contemplating divorce. You know, I hope that you can go back even to the very first season. As cringy as it is to go to season episode 1, but you know, to just go and really take it in. And the reason why I say that is because we're truly coming from a place of been there, done that, but also we're out here now, and we're saying
we're out in the streets.
If he ain't beating you or disrespecting you in a big way with regards to like constant affairs and all this kind of stuff, like, you need to really triple and quadruple check your motives to want to step out, because it is not all that it seems to be out here in these streets, as they say.
No, it really isn't. And I think taking it back to first season, and I think that every other episode we have a tendency to talk about this once in a while, by the way, about that famous prayer. And if you're not sure about what you're going through, how it's happening, why it's happening, when, what, there's that prayer that you shared, and I don't know, maybe you can give them a little bit of like, because you're really good with words, and like, I think they just flow so beautifully.
You know, I think that if you are a woman who is in a marriage that you are uncertain of what to do, you know, whatever it may be, you know, adultery or whatever it may be, right? I think that you should really just kind of sit in a quiet place. It could be in your car, in the Starbucks line. It really doesn't matter, but just really give it to God. You know, imagine the cross. I'm Christian. You know, take all of your worries, all of your doubts, all of your concerns, put it at the foot of the cross, and literally just pray to God and ask Him to show you who your husband is when he thinks no one is looking.
Oh man.
Part 1.
But be ready.
Oh, let me tell you, that is the scariest thing you can pray, by the way.
Be ready.
And number 2, before you even say that prayer, ask yourself, are you ready to really know? And what I mean by that is, are you really ready to take action? Because it's not enough to like know and then stay in the relationship and then punish him with all of your insecurities and 2-3 years of like, but look what you did, and like,
it's all your fault.
You know what I mean? But yet, and then going and telling all your friends and family what he did, but yet there you are still.
And then guess what? If you're Latina, they're gonna be like, ahí va la
idiota.
You
know what I mean? And so you really want to be mindful of being truly ready. And what I mean by that, what does ready look like? You may be saying. For me, and I can only speak for what ready looked like for me, ready looked like if I jump ship and I never meet anyone again and I never get remarried again, I am okay with that. Okay? Because let me tell you, out here, if you're going to jump ship from where you are just to go thinking you're going to go marry the next guy for whatever reason, like, you might end up with the same crap you just walked away from, but now it's not even the father of your kids.
So
there's a lot to think about.
So true.
So just pray to God, ask Him to guide you, to show you who your husband is when he thinks no one is looking, and then say, God, guide me of what I'm supposed to do. So no, when you show me, also show me, by the way, if he is trustworthy.
Right.
Because so often...
And give me the strength to do either or. Whatever it is.
Shift, because it might be you, by the way.
Yeah.
You might be seeing these TikTok astrologists, TikTok tarot card
readers.
This
message is for you.
It means blah, blah,
if he's a blah, 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 he's cheating on you. You're like, I do it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we build these stories, or we
do.
build these
And we
feelings, and we
buy
go,
it.
I know he's cheating, I haven't caught him yet. And now you're enthralled on this mission to catch the dude. And so I highly suggest
Yeah,
let
but
it go.
sometimes your intuition is correct. I
It
mean,
could be.
I had that whole situation where I just couldn't pinpoint it. And let me tell you, I prayed, and I prayed wholeheartedly, and it probably was 3 weeks of that type of prayer. And everything I ever questioned, doubted, felt insecure about, it was a burner phone that I found, and all the text messages and all the emails and all the photos
with the
and
dates
the
and
dates
everything.
and meeting hotels with this hooker and that hooker. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that your husband's doing that, by the way. I'm just saying sometimes you may have a really strong intuition, and you might say, no, I'm tripping, no, it's not true, no, I'm crazy, and he'll paint you out to be crazy.
Oh yeah,
and
don't
then,
even freaking freak out.
But I'm not trying to say that that's your situation. Everyone's situation is different. But sometimes our intuition is so keen on point.
I think our intuition is accurate. It is intuition for a reason, like it is correct. My advice to you though is not to go digging and crazy. You don't need to do none of that.
Yeah, just say a
You
prayer.
can feel it, and that is a prompt for you to turn to God and pray if you're prepared for the answer. Number one. Number two, once you send it to God, it is done. Set it and forget it. We were saying that today. Set it and forget it. And literally, if that man comes home in a good mood, make the cookies, make the coffee, whatever, make the food, and enjoy each and every moment since the moment you make that prayer. And the reason why is because this could be the absolute end. And if it turns out that God shows you he actually is a great guy, but he's very stressed or he's concerned about whatever, now you didn't go make a mess of things with your weird energy.
Yeah.
So you got to understand you have energy as well. And if you're
Right.
suspicious because women were in tune first,
Right.
and you start putting out that nervous energy, he's going to pick up on it, and it's going to weird out the whole house, kids and all. So send it to God, set it and forget it, and go make his favorite dinner and go do all the things and enjoy every moment as you can. Even if the alarms are going off, it's okay. Just keep being in peace. Choose peace, choose peace, choose peace until God reveals it to you.
Choose peace still then. Because you're saying choose it till God reveals it to you, and then she goes wild,
and then packing the bags are peaceful. Then it's lamps might fly. I mean, there's no guarantees.
Man. Then you hear the girls that like turn the freaking clothes on fire and they do all the things.
There's no guarantee.
Think you should never do that. By the way, I'm not saying.
Hey, in business, there's a saying that the first person who loses composure loses, and at the end of the day, you just gotta say thank you, God. I lost my ish when it was revealed, so I had prayed and all that, and then all of a sudden here comes this phone call, and I like, and you can't, I'm not even that person, that's not my character, and I spun into a level of the third dimension. I was like in the fifth dimension, I was somewhere else. And it was insane, like a pure insanity, and it lasted like 10 minutes, and then I got myself together, and I was like, thank you, God. Now give me the strength for like next.
And then you just operate from a place of business.
Yes. Okay, anything else we want to cover for this season finale of season 2?
I think I personally am very excited for the next season. Obviously, we are planning to get a lot of guests on, possibly women of the night, doctors that talk about all types of different things. But on this particular season, I think it's just been growth. I think that's the main thing. I think we just want to see the growth, and the awesome thing about it is that we have video to kind of, go back in time and say there has been some growth there, and it's awesome. So,
okay, any of the comments that have come through that really like stood out to us, because we've been called names, by the way. This whole like public figure thing has been really interesting because
oh my gosh, yeah,
people
it's like
really
you're
like
not famous, and it's like it's okay, I don't need to be, like you're still listening.
Yeah, then there was like, oh, you guys are gross, or like, oh, you guys are like putting us down.
Oh yeah,
they're
like on the erectile dysfunction one, he's like, I have erectile dysfunction because of you two.
Because of women like you, we're all sad.
It's like,
and now it's funny because she'll be like, okay, what are we going to comment? I'm like, God bless. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Tune in. Take some Cialis, 10 milligrams, or Viagra. Like, I don't know. I was like, dude, please. I don't know. to be continued on that, yes, and yeah, you know, sometimes I just get on my high horse and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
It's so easy to do, but we've had some really interesting comments, and it's been neat to see some of the people that comment on the videos start off kind of negative, and then over time still tuning in, and then also agreeing with us on some elements too. So then I'm like, okay, actually like engaged. And
Yeah.
by the way, we've had a lot of men approach us wanting, they're like, get me on. We had one guy was like in the building here. We're in a building here. And they're like, oh, we have a whole checklist. Like we have a whole list of things we want to address with you guys.
And we're like, bring it.
And we're like, but then they were no show, by the way. There's footage, maybe we'll air it, maybe we won't, but we're literally sitting in this room with chairs, and these guys were supposed to show up to be on camera to give us that list,
let us know,
and set us straight. And we sat there in a room with a cameraman and everything, and
everything.
empty chairs. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So people like to hide behind that keyboard all day long, but they won't come forward. Can we give thanks and acknowledgement to Tavi Tequila, who was like our liquid sponsor for a minute. We had a woman named Mobile Mary who came on and did a promo for the Women's Leadership Conference in our area, and then we had Balco
sponsor us too.
Balco,
We've had other sponsors that are interested, so we're gonna get them on for a third season.
But I wanted to say we acknowledge all them and say thank you. It's been super phenomenal. And Rudy, we had Rudy A official out of Houston, Texas.
Yeah, out of Texas, and he gives a lot of good dating advice. Also, he's obviously a divorcee. You know, he cheated on his ex-wife or his wife at the time, and he kind of gives insider lens perspective on a male's perspective of what that looks like.
You guys all know him from TikTok.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, he gets a little bit. I think that he was in a little bit of a bind there. It was a little bit of a hot water, but I think he's awesome. He really gives the male's perspective, and we give the female's perspective. So it's been a really good way to collaborate with him, right?
Getting on his show, super thanks for that. So it's been an interesting season too. We've had these amazing opportunities, and it's been a lot of fun. And I don't know, anything else?
I think that's it.
We have some people live over there watching us. It's been kind of interesting to be looking at you over here on YouTube and looking across the room at the live. It's our first time going live, so for all I know, we didn't even do it right, but there it is.
It's all right. We'll get it right one day. So it is what it is. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see what happens.
We will see you season 3. Check us out. You deserve fresh lettuce. Cheers.
Oh, it's Happy Friday.
Okay, so those of you who are live, if you're watching this, we normally drink tequila, but Miss Delia is on a body transformation.
I had hot dogs for lunch, guys.
We're like cheese whiz and
a 2 Cokes.
So we got water going on over here.
I know, and we normally don't do this because I really look forward to the tequila, I guess, because I love drinking tequila, but yeah, I'm trying to cut back on all this crap for 12 weeks. I don't know why 12 weeks, but
is anybody on with us right now?
There's 200 people.
There's 2,000 people. The reason I ask is maybe we move them closer and let's do a little Q&A. Maybe you want to grab them. I don't know if there is. Though.
I think there might be just a couple of people.
Okay, we're gonna move you closer over here and see.
Yeah. Okay. 0 people.
Cool. Okay, and then maybe we I guess leave it on or hit stop or whatever. Hey. Hi. Let's see if there's a couple people watching, and then. Yeah, maybe aim it this way and then kind of tilt it down just a little bit. There you go. All right, see, we're trying to get it right, you guys. Okay, so I don't know that we can see questions or if are we able to see the chat box? I think you have to click on the chat box now.
Yeah, there's no chat boxes going on.
Yeah, but is it because
we're live currently though.
Yeah, we're live, but will we be able to see? Can someone just drop a test comment so we can see if we need to click? Taylor said there's nobody on. I can't see. I'm like so blind.
I'm like, did you guys drop a comment?
Hold on. I'm like, oh wait, let me get the comments loaded in here. I'm gonna test it anyways. Let's see if I can go on. Hold on. How do I find it?
I'm not sure.
We might as well test it. Look, it's delayed. Okay, now look over there and see if it posts. Oh yeah. Okay, so now we know the difference. Yay, it's me.
Yay.
Hey, you gotta be your own best cheerleader.
Amen.
Amen.
So happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We are done. Season 2, donezo.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a wrap. That's so funny. You're all